everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Lily and Generoso. I am Lily.
I'm Generoso.
And today we're going to make Banh Cam. There are other names for this, apparently, depending on where you are from in Vietnam. My family always called it Banh Cam because we're Southerners. Yes. And so that is what we're going to call it today. Let's look at the ingredients.
Please.
So I have probably like an eighth of a giant red onion. I have 4 slices of applewood smoked bacon, really nice and thick. We have some coconut milk. We have straight rice flour. We have straight glutinous rice flour. We have our measuring cups and our sharp knife. Yes. We have cane sugar. We have mashed potato flakes. I know it sounds weird, but we have mashed potato flakes. We have pepper, sesame seed, sea salt, and 1/2 cup of mung beans that have been soaked in warm water overnight. So the first thing that we are going to do is actually go ahead and take this water and drain it out of the mung beans. And I already have turned on my steamer. If you've seen any of the other videos, you know that we always try to steam our mung beans because if you boil them, it takes too much effort. And it also always burns. I'm just going to take the mung bean and put it on the steamer. Spread it out. I always put a little bit when I'm soaking the mung beans overnight because my steamer has kind of big holes, so mung beans tend to fall through a little bit. I always put a little over what I need. That way I can account for whatever ends up falling through. Alright, and so we're going to put the lid on this and we're going to let this steam for about 20 minutes and we're going to do some prep in the meantime. Gene's going to turn on the timer because he's better than I am at doing it with one hand.
Yes.
And we'll see you very shortly. So we've done a little bit of prep. I've diced the onion and I've chopped up the bacon into little bits. And I've measured out 4 tablespoons of hot water. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our mashed potatoes.
Potato.
I'm going to measure out 2 tablespoons. So 1. And, oh.
That's fine.
2. That was a little generous. That's okay. And then we're just going to take a fork and mix this all together until we kind of get a little bit of a potato paste. Right, and this is going to be set aside for the dough.
Excellent.
Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to fry up the bacon and the onions.
Fantastical.
We're going to, we have a nice saute pan that
Put
is
on
heating
medium
up.
heat, yep.
I'm going to put a tiny bit of oil down there. And then going to add our bacon and our onions. At this point, you're probably wondering if you've ever had Banh Cam. Wait, why are you putting bacon and onions in this? So Banh Cam traditionally is a dessert. And the filling is normally just kind of like sweet mung bean. And sometimes they'll put coconut in it as well. But I always felt that it was kind of a one-note thing. It wasn't very complex. It wasn't always, like, it didn't have a ton of flavor. It was kind of sweet. And so, what we're doing is actually taking a filling that is very similar to that of Banh It that we made a few weeks ago. And we're going to put that inside of a little bit more of a sweet mung bean paste. I think that's going to add a nice complexity to the filling and make it all more delicious. So we're going to get a little bit of black pepper. I'm not going to use the side that's supposed to have the spoon, otherwise this is going to be a pepper explosion. I'm going to put about a teaspoon or so. And then fry this up. So I'm going to fry this until all of the fat is cooked down into oil and the onions have at least browned up a tiny bit. And we'll see you very soon as we prepare to fill and make the mung bean paste. Hi everybody, so while all of the fillings are still wrapping up, our mung beans are still steaming, all of the bacon was fried, but we want to wait for the mung beans to finish. So we're going to go ahead and make the dough. So I have a 16-ounce bag of glutinous rice flour that we're going to go ahead and open up. We're going to use the whole thing for this recipe of Banh Cam. And if you're wondering, what's the difference? Remember, glutinous rice flour always is a little bit stickier. Straight rice flour is, it's almost like gelatinous in a way when it cooks down.
Whoa, your whole bag in it.
Yes, I have a whole bag in it. That's 16 ounces, so it's 2 dry cups, essentially, of glutinous rice flour. It's a little messy. We're going to take our mashed potato mix now. Just use your hands, no big deal. And now we're going to measure out 2 tablespoons of just normal rice flour. So that's 1. And that's 2. I'm going to use 4 tablespoons of cane sugar. This dough, after all, is a sweet dough. It's 1. 2. 3. And 4. And then we are going to do about a half teaspoon of salt. And now we want a half a cup of water, kind of warm. So 1/2 cup. And then we want 1/3 cup. And now we're going to knead this dough together. So I'm going to go ahead and continue kneading this. Remember, add water as needed. Sometimes the dough is a little too dry because the rice flour, it's dry in itself. And we'll see you very shortly when this tightens up. So Gina's very kindly helped me add some more water. We ended up adding 3 half cups to this.
So a cup and a half.
Yeah, so about a cup and a half. And so the dough now is like a very nice kind of like Play-Doh kind of texture. A little softer than Play-Doh, actually. And so what we're going to do, just put it in a nice lump and set it aside. And so I'm going to clean my hands up just to get the flour off, and then we're going to make the mung bean filling. We're going to let this set aside for 30 minutes. So we've set our dough aside. We've put the timer on. And now I'm going to take my mung bean. It's been turned off the oven on it, and so it gave it some time to dry out, because you don't want your mung beans to be too wet. Otherwise it won't come together. I'm just going to use my rice paddle. Scrape all this bean out. Delicious bean.
Bean. You didn't lose a lot, did you?
I lost some. Not too much, though.
Good.
It also expands as well, so remember that. Mung beans always expand, just like rice.
And Jean when left alone.
And now I'm going to take my rice paddle, just give it a mush. You want this to turn into a paste. Once they're steamed, this is really easy. You could use a mortar and pestle, you could use a spatula. I'm just using this little rice paddle. It's easy.
Yeah, they mash up pretty nicely.
Exactly, they're pretty soft by this point already. At this point, to add flavor, what we're going to do is I'm going to take 1 spoonful of coconut milk.
Coconut.
Just 1, because otherwise this could get too runny too quickly. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2, and 3. Because the mung beans don't really have much flavor on their own.
Oh, they're pretty bland.
Yeah.
Like a soybean.
I'm going to mix all that sugar in, along with the coconut milk. Alright, so that sugar is nice and mixed through.
Excellent.
And we're going to now get our bacon. Dum dum dum. Bacon and onion. And we're going to just drop it in. You want a little bit of the oil, but not all. You can always save the rest of the oil for other delicious things.
Breakfast.
Breakfast. I think we're going to use it for some tofu.
That sounds nice, actually. I look forward to these things. It's the cooking within the cooking that makes this fun.
Absolutely. Alrighty.
Excellent.
Going to put our pan aside to reuse, of course, because you never want to waste a pan. And mix up the bacon and the onion. And this is going to be our filling. And it will be incredibly delicious.
Fantastic.
Alright, so we're just going to let this set and dry out as well. And we will see you soon when the dough is actually ready to start pulling apart, and we'll roll a bunch of filling bowls. We'll see. It's been a little over 30 minutes and our dough is nice. It's risen a little bit, but it's still nice and elasticy. So our mung bean has tightened up. I actually put it in the freezer to let it tighten up even more. What we're going to do now is we're going to pour out sesame seeds onto this plate. Because the best thing about Banh Cam is the actual sesame coating on the outside.
It is.
And Jean has very generously already started to warm the oil. You put it at
350.
350.
Or deep fryer.
Indeed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of the filling. Going to roll it on up. We're going to make kind of small Banh Cam. Let's see if I can actually do this. Alright, so we have our little filling ball. We're going to take a pinch of the dough. And then we're going to flatten it out. Want it to be nice and thin because you actually want the dough itself to be directly on the mung bean itself. You don't want any room between the mung bean and the actual dough.
I see.
So it's probably about like 1/6 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. So what we're going to do is take our mung bean filling, just wrap it up. Dunk, dunk, dunk. And now
give it a little roll.
Give it a little roll. The middle on that stretched too thinly, that's okay, that's going to happen. Again, you want this dough to be directly against the mung bean itself. Give it a nice roll, get it into a circle. Dunk, 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 dunk. And remember, with any of these, it will get better with time and with practice. So don't worry if your first couple look not so great, that's going to happen. That's no big deal.
It's like the first pancake.
So what you're going to do now is you're going to just roll this in the sesame seed.
Excellent.
You want to make sure the sesame seed nicely covers this. And take your finger and just add it on to anywhere else that doesn't have any. You want to press the sesame seed in as well, because otherwise they're going to want to fall right on out.
Especially once they go in the deep fryer.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Give it a nice little press. And then remember, just roll right back up into a little ball. Alrighty, so we're going to put this to the side, and we're going to just roll as many until we're out of filling, and then we will start deep frying. See you soon. So we have rolled up enough for one batch of Banh Cam to be fried. So we'll go ahead and take it and put it into our frying basket. You want to give them a little bit of room from each other, because otherwise they will stick a little bit. And of course when they're in the oil they'll kind of float and you kind of want to roll them around. So our oil's nice and hot. What we want to do is just dip them on in. Alright, and what we'll do is still take chopsticks and just kind of give them a little bit of a roll. Just want to make sure that they don't stick too much to the bottom of the pan. Alright, and so we'll let this fry until they're golden black brown and they float up to the top. So we'll see you very shortly, everybody. And so these are our Banh Cams now that they are finished.
Beautiful.
Indeed, so they have fried up. They're a little bit golden brown, and all of the sesame seeds on the outside are nice and toasted without being burned. I hope you enjoy it.